In this episode, we are exploring Hinduism and looking at some surprising prophecies that you'll find in the religion. How's it going, everybody? My name is Leroy Kenton, and I have some very interesting info to share in this episode. So before we get started though, leave a like on this episode if you enjoy learning about different religions, countries, cultures, and people. And also, if you're a newcomer here to FTD Facts, hit that subscribe button and ring that bell to be notified of our daily episodes like this. Now, a little bit of an introduction before we get into the 10 points to this episode. One fact I gotta share about the prophecies in Hinduism is that in the prophecies in Hinduism, there also exists the notion of an awaited one or avatar, which is understood to be a manifestation of God in bodily form. Now, in Hinduism, time is considered to be cyclical and each cycle is ended, and when a cycle ends, the next cycle begins with the appearance of an avatar. It's as if these avatars act like a certain signal that separate the cycles from the next, and when we examine Hinduism, we see that each cycle time is divided up into 4 separate phases or yugas, and these are in the order that they appear. There's the Kritral Yuga, then there's the Treta Yuga, then the Dvapara Yuga, and the Kali Yuga. And it's also believed that the next avatar is going to be Kalki, and he'll make an appearance on the earth in the not too distant future. Okay, so starting off with prophecy number 10. Buddha predicted. One of the earliest prophecies that we can see is of Lord Buddha. The Srimad Bhagavatam, which is spoken about 5,000 years ago, it's believed, predicted the appearance of the Lord Buddha, who appeared 2,500 years later according to most historians, in 560 BCE. However, there's some other evidence that has shown that Buddha was born in 1887 BCE, and he renounced the world in 1858, and then he passed away in 1807 BCE. So depending on what historian you ask, they may give you some different dates either way. There's also a prediction about the falling away from religion. Whenever there's a falling away from the true law religion and an upsurge of unlawfulness, and then I admit myself, I come into being age after age to protect the virtuous and to destroy evildoers, to establish a firm basis for the true law. And that's in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, verses 7 to 8. At number 8, we have the prophecy of hypocritical saints. Those who present themselves as saints are constantly engaged in preaching false doctrines. Those who have apparently renounced the world are rich in worldly possessions and have become family men. And you can find that in the Srimad Bhagavata, BEF 300 CE. Number 7 brings us the prophecy of wildfires. And there's a passage that says, "And the path of the wind will be confused and agitated, and all around will be noise and uproar. And everywhere there will be conflagrations, and fires will blaze on all sides." And that's in the Mahabharata, and it's believed that was written about 3000 BCE. The birthplace of Buddha was also a prophecy. The Bhagavata says, "In the beginning of the age of Kali Yuga, the Supreme Being will appear in the province of Gaya as Lord Buddha, the son of Anjana, just for the purpose of deluding those who are always envious of the faithful believers." Similar verses are found in many other Puranas, and this is in reference to a time when the unqualified people used perverted forms of Vedic rituals as well as unnecessarily slaughter animals. Now, it said that the Buddha rejected the Vedic rites and he preached non-violence. And this verse shows that Lord Buddha was an incarnation of the Supreme Being who would appear in Gaya, which is a town in central India. Nevertheless though, some historians also say that Buddha, whose name was Siddhartha Gautama, was actually born in Lambi, Nepal, and that his mother was Queen Mahamaya. Now, if you go to Nepal in the area where it's believed that Buddha was born, you'll see shrines pretty much everywhere dedicated to Buddha. It's also prophesied that wealth and piety will decrease day by day until the world will be totally depraved. Then property alone will confer rank. Wealth will be the only source of devotion, passion will be the sole bond of union between sexes, falsehood will be the only means of success in litigation, and women will be objects merely of sensual gratification. Earth will be venerated for its material treasures, the Brahminical thread will constitute the Brahmin, external types will be the only distinction of several orders of life. Dishonesty will be the universal means of subsistence, weakness will be the cause of dependence, menace and presumption will be substituted for learning, liberality will be devotion, simple ablutions will will be purification, mutual assent will be marriage, fine clothes will be dignity, and water afar off will be esteemed a holy spring. Amidst all castes, he who is the strongest will reign over the principality. No man's life will exceed 23 years. Thus in the age of Kali shall decay constantly proceed until the human race approaches its annihilation. And that's taken from the Vishnu Purana 4 verses 24. Now it says a whole lot, I just paraphrase and cut it down into some bite-sized chunks. But nevertheless, it's pretty much the picture that the passage paints. Now let's talk about the prophecy of the indulgence of sexual commerce. The learned pandits, who are the Hindu theologians, for their part will indulge in sexual commerce with the wives like buffaloes. They are experts in breeding children and are not at all clever in attaining enlightenment. The substance and depth of things has disappeared everywhere, and that's in the Srimad Bhagavata. Prophecy number 3 is Vishnu as Kalki. It said that Vishnu will return as Kalki upon a white horse as the last avatar amid fire and flames, and that's found in the Hindu Puranas, and that's believed to be written about 900 CE. Prophecy number 2 goes a lot in detail about afflictions and enlightenment. So it says that in the Kali age, men will be afflicted by old age, disease, hunger, and from sorrow there will arise depression, indifference, deep thought, enlightenment, and virtuous behavior. Then the age will change, deluding their minds like a dream by force of fate, and when the golden age begins, those left over from the Kali age will be progenitors of the golden age. Thus there is eternal continuity from age to age. And you can find that in the Linga Purana chapter 1 verses 40. Kind of gives you a picture of like things are going to get really bad and then get really good afterwards. It's definitely a similar theme that we see popping up in other religions. And finally, the number 1 prophecy is suffering and health, money, and more. So yeah, like I said, just talking a little bit more about things getting bad before they get good. This passage says, already vexed by famine and heavy taxation, people will perish through drought, excessive cold, storms, scorching sunshine, heavy rain, snowfall, and mutual conflict. In the age of Kali, men will be tormented by hunger and thirst, sickness, and worry. And that's found in the Srimad Bhagavata. Alright guys, so that was a look at 10 prophecies that you'll find in the Hindu text. And I know most people don't really associate prophecies with Hinduism, but surprisingly there are many that exist. Alright guys, now before I end off this episode, I'm introducing a new segment where I'll be responding to your comments, and we decided to include this in some of our episodes to give us an opportunity to respond to your feedback, as well as offer any clarification about anything, as well as have further discussion about the topics that we cover. Now I will be responding to your comments from our video titled 10 Biggest Lies About Hinduism. And the first comment comes from MKL Official. He says, thank you for granting us knowledge about other people's beliefs and culture. I prefer to be open-minded and respectful of what others believe in so that they may also have respect for what I stand for and believe in. And you know, I definitely appreciate that comment. It's always good to be open-minded because there's sometimes that we may have a particular view of something and we may just be so close-minded that we don't even give somebody else a chance to share something that we think is contradictory but may not be contradictory. It might actually help our view. And when you understand where people are coming from, I think you can relate to them a lot more effectively, and it's just a better relationship anyways. And then they get to understand where you come from. You may not necessarily have to agree, but hey, at least that may end some conflict there, you know? Navneet Kumar Sharma commented and said, I can see FTD Facts has made improvements over their knowledge of Sanatan Dharma Hinduism, but there are still some bit of errors. I request that please rectify those errors. Continue to keep up the good work. And you know, we've done several videos about Hinduism, and it's definitely not a topic that you're gonna know everything about the first time. So definitely when I do research, when Rawan does research, or any of us here at FTD Facts does research, we're learning as we go sometimes. And then we share that in a video with you. And sometimes we may share something that may not necessarily be the whole complete thought, but due to limitations in video time, we can't necessarily share everything. So definitely if you do notice something that you say is an error, especially when it comes to religion and cultures and people's beliefs, it's really hard to nail down exactly what is a fact because there's so many different beliefs. The only fact is that, yeah, people may have this belief. So that's where we try to stay in the whole world of FTD facts. Just state what people believe versus trying to put in our own input and say that that is a fact. And yeah, we're going to continue to learn as we go. So thanks for joining us on this journey. Next up, we have Ujwal Bajpai says, I'm sorry, Leroy, I shouldn't have used aggressive language, but I also want to see videos on my religion. But thank you for making a video at last. I mean, yeah, everybody wants to feel represented, you know, and that's what we try to do on this channel, try to represent as many different beliefs as possible. Like, especially again, when it comes to religion, there's so many different variations. Like, for example, this video is about Hinduism, right? There may be some Hindus that may not necessarily fully believe everything that was shared in this episode. So how are they going to get represented? We do our best to try to reach everybody. So thanks for your patience as we continue to learn as well. And yeah, so look forward to bringing you some more episodes. Alright guys, so that's all the comments I'm going to respond in this episode. Thank you so much for hanging out with me here on FTD Facts. And before you guys head out, I'll leave you with another recommended video. It's going to be playing at the end, so definitely check it out, and I'll see you guys real soon.